Hello. Hey, this is William Toel speaking to you. Now, for our next few times together, we're going to have to talk about some very basic things. You're involved in a world that is upside down, and I think you know that. And Germans don't belong in that kind of silliness. That's not who you are. So as of this morning, Friday, the 4th of March, over 217,000 people have looked at a little 43-word big head that says, these are the weasel words that will tell you, that will tip you off that propaganda is being used on you. And now I want to talk to you about war propaganda, and what does it look like, and how does it affect you, and why are you so easily deceived by it? Now, for 34 years, I taught in universities, and most semesters I taught international or global marketing. And any marketer knows that it's very easy to make someone say what you want them to say. And the way you do that is by crafting or phrasing the question in such a way that you get the answer you want. And then also, you create an atmosphere so that the person who's being polled has a consequence to giving you an answer other than the one you really want. Well, you have these two, and you can really create any poll that you want. Now, why this is relevant is that today in Germany, in a snap poll done by a government-oriented pollster, it says 78% of Germans are in favor of a more aggressive stance, a more aggressive attitude towards Russia. Well, I propose to you that maybe it's the other way around. Maybe 78% of the German people are opposed to any more aggressive deal and actually want more of a common sense resolution to this. Well, you walk up to any German today on the street and you say, I'm going to ask you a question. And that person is going to look over their shoulder, and they are not going to give you an open and forthright answer, especially if you're a stranger, and especially if the question seems to be, well, a loaded one. They know they could lose their job. They can draw the police right to their door. They know very well that you can be shunned by your neighbors and even members of your own family by volunteering information or asking questions that are inconvenient for people. So that poll that says 78% of you want a more aggressive stance, want a more warlike stance, that is an incorrect poll. But how do we keep these things from happening? Well, I believe that over 90% of you would answer this question in the negative. And here's the question. Do you dislike Russian people so much that you would like to kill them or maim them or destroy their livelihood and their family? Do you? Well, for an American and for a British person, this is drummed into them from the day they're born. It's just part of what it means to be an English-speaking person in that world. The Russians are evil, and everyone knows it. My question to you is that the way you feel? Do you feel that you would like to kill and maim and harm Russian people? Oh, in 223 meetings, I have not found one of you who feels that way. That's an all 16-lander. So why are you sending a strong message to your leaders that you want them to take offensive lethal weapons and quickly, rapidly send them to the Ukraine. What other purpose could they have other than to kill and maim and destroy? They have no other purpose. And as an old military man, I can tell you that all weapons and ammunition have a specific, defined shelf life. I mean, they don't last forever, and the moment that you give them to someone, they begin to deplete. They begin to become weaker, and which means that if Germany says, here are lethal weapons, Germany is also saying they need to be used. Well, I don't think that's a good message. I don't think that leads you anywhere. And so I want to talk to you today about how to stay away from the propaganda traps. It's always full of speed. Man is full of speed. It's always full of something that must be done or the world's going to end. Well, that's not the way it works. Things are far more complicated than that. Up here above me, maybe we'll see it later, is a bust of Abraham Lincoln. And Lincoln went through a terrible, long, long war. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of young Americans were killed. And at the end of that, he advised us, and I'm advising you. In every person there are good angels. Every person. Those good angels can be spoken to. But it takes patience, and it takes prudence, and it takes time, and you have to bring them the truth, and then you have to give the good angels time to think it through. You have to trust them. Well, that's like with God. God's never in a hurry. Those angels are like that. But they're also in every human being. Not one of you is free of this. There are bad angels, and you can speak to those bad angels, and you can speak violent words and sexual words and vengeful words, and those angels will respond immediately, and they want to strike out at something. They want to hurt something. They're impulsive. They're like man because man's always in a hurry. Now, I want you to ignore the world of the bad angels because it's going to lead you in a path you don't want. And I want you to start letting the good angels in you start to work again. Best thinking people on earth, that's who you are. People who ask good questions. People not easily deceived. No, that's what I'm asking you to do now. Okay? You ignore this war propaganda, and you need to ask some good questions of yourself. If you don't want to ask them of others, at least ask them of yourself. This war propaganda is an expensive proposition. It takes a lot of cleverness, a lot of skill, a lot of money. So who's doing this? And who benefits from it? The Russian people have lost 30% of their currency value, 40% of their stock market value, and the Americans and the British are crowing. They say, yes, yes, this is what we've planned. But you know that when someone loses big, especially if it's a planned operation, that means someone wins big. Someone loses billions of dollars of wealth, someone gains billions of dollars of wealth. So you got to be smart and start using common sense about all of these things. And that is what I want to talk to you about. Today, we're talking about war propaganda. And remember, you're Germans. You're way too smart for this silliness. This is craziness. 6 months from now, we'll look back and this will be insanity, what the whole world is involved in here. You get everybody running to one side of a boat, what does the boat do? It capsizes. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. Things aren't as simple as they seem in war propaganda. So what I'm asking you to do is, even if it's within yourself or within your family or within your workplace or within your friends that you can trust, start thinking these things through. And you're going to find that this whole idea of polling, this whole idea of the government polls say, and you better jump on board, well, I'm telling you, and you know that I love you, And I'm speaking directly to you right now. This is going to lead you down a path that's going to be big trouble. This is not a game, people. And you're right in the middle of things. Right in the middle. You've got to be smart. Thank you for listening to me. This is William Toel.